Sometimes a single letter can change an entire life. This is the story of James Carter, a man who spent years running away from his past, until one day his past came knocking with a message of forgiveness. James Carter, 48, lived alone in a small town in Oregon. He woke up every day at 6:30 a.m., brewed his coffee, and sat silently by the window, watching the world outside but never truly part of it. His neighbors saw him as the quiet man. He worked as a mechanic at a local auto shop, fixed engines, changed tires, and smiled politely, but never talked much. No one knew about the James that existed 20 years ago. Back then, he was full of life, a musician, a dreamer, a man in love. He had a wife named Laura and a little daughter named Emily. They were his world. Until one stormy night, everything changed. It was raining heavily. James had been drinking after a fight with Laura. He thought she didn't understand his dreams, his music, his struggles. Words turned into anger. Anger turned into shouting. And before he knew it, he stormed out of the house, got into his truck, and drove away. Moments later, the headlights flashed. The truck skidded on the wet road. There was a crash, metal twisted, glass shattered. When James woke up in the hospital, his world had ended. Laura and Emily were gone. That night didn't just take their lives, it took his soul. For years, James lived in guilt. He sold his guitar, left the city, and disappeared into a quiet life, avoiding people, avoiding memories. He never touched alcohol again. He never celebrated birthdays. He never looked at a child without remembering Emily's laugh. Every night before sleeping, he whispered the same words. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." One cold morning, James received a letter in the mail. No return address, just his name written in soft handwriting. He opened it slowly. "Dear Mr. Carter, you don't know me, but I knew your wife Laura. I work at St. Mary's Orphanage. Before she passed away, she left something, a letter for you. It was never delivered until now. If you wish to read it, please visit the orphanage. Sister Margaret." James froze. A letter? From Laura? After all these years? He stared at the paper for a long time. His hands trembled. His breath quickened. Part of him wanted to burn the letter, but another part, the broken, tired part, whispered, "Go." James packed his small bag, locked his house, and drove. Every mile felt like a step back into his own shadow. He hadn't been to his hometown in 20 years. Every signboard, every bridge, every pine tree along the road felt like a ghost watching him. At sunset, he reached the orphanage, an old white building surrounded by autumn trees. Children were playing in the yard. Their laughter pierced something deep inside him. He met Sister Margaret, an elderly nun with kind eyes. "Sister Margaret, Mr. Carter, Laura was a wonderful woman. She volunteered here. She cared for children who had no one. She spoke of you often, with love." James couldn't speak. His throat tightened. She handed him an old, sealed envelope. "Sister Margaret, she wrote this 2 days before the accident. She said she wanted you to read it whenever you were ready." James walked to the nearby chapel, sat down, and opened the letter. "My dearest James, if you're reading this, I hope it means you're still out there somewhere, breathing, healing. I know life hasn't been easy for you. It hasn't been easy for me either. I want you to know something. I never stopped believing in you. Even when we fought, even when you doubted yourself, I saw the man you were meant to be. Promise me one thing. Don't let guilt steal the music from your soul. You were born to create beauty, to share it with the world. Emily loved when you sang. I did too. So live, James. Live for us. And when you play again, remember, love never dies. It just changes form. Always yours, Laura." James broke down. Tears rolled down his face as he clutched the letter to his chest. For the first time in 20 years, he cried, not out of guilt, but out of love. That night, he stayed in the orphanage. Children gathered around, curious about the quiet man. One of them, a little girl named Sophie, asked, "Do you play music, mister?" James hesitated, then nodded. He found an old guitar in the orphanage's storeroom. The strings were rusty, the wood cracked, but when he strummed it, the sound was pure. He sang softly, Laura's favorite song. The children listened, eyes wide, hearts still. Even Sister Margaret wiped a tear. In that moment, the silence inside James broke. Music, once lost, found its way home. James decided to stay at the orphanage for a while, teaching the kids music, fixing broken instruments, telling them stories. He repaired what was broken, not just guitars, but lives. He started a small project, Notes of Hope, a music program for orphans and foster children. Local people joined. Donations came in. The story spread. A man who lost everything was now helping others find their voice. James didn't become famous. He didn't seek forgiveness. He simply lived the way Laura wanted him to. Years later, James sat under the same tree where children once played. He was older now, gray hair, calm eyes. Sophie, now grown up, handed him a new letter. "Dear Mr. Carter, thank you for teaching us that love can return in many forms, sometimes through music, sometimes through kindness. You changed our lives." Sophie, James smiled, looked up at the sky and whispered, "Laura, we did it." He closed his eyes. The wind rustled the leaves, and for a moment, it felt like Laura's voice was in the breeze, humming his song. We all carry guilt, loss, or pain. But somewhere, deep inside, there's always a letter waiting, a message of hope, of forgiveness, of love. Because sometimes, the hardest journey isn't to the past, but back to yourself. Fade Out, The Last Letter, A Journey of Redemption.